Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and today is part 3 of the 10 by 10 mixed media abstract. As you can see, this is the stage where we left off last week, and now I'm going to add hopefully the final layers and deal with a few issues. So I there's a lot of circles going on with this piece, but with the very high contrast of that black circle, plus there's already 3 in the lower left-hand corner, I've decided to think that it's too busy and I just needed a bit more space. So I decided what would it look like if I covered it with blue, the same background as I tested with that circle, that collage piece just sitting underneath. So I'm liking it lighter. You'll see with my brush, I come in with a little darker or lighter. Oh, I've changed the value to lighter and realized that mid value worked better. So I continue to work, add a little more, and just add some subtle texture with this piece. But as you know from previous experience, I don't like certain types of brush strokes. I don't know what it is, especially if they're too many horizontal lines going on, and then hitting this collage piece that's sticking out, which obviously, well, maybe not so obviously, I deal with that in the next layer or two. And that's what happens when you take the tape off and then the edge starts to get a little dirty. But I decided it's better off than having a bright green or a bright yellow tape looking at me and then throwing me off the colors. So trying to take away a bit of the busyness going on with the small marks, small dots, and that piece, which is the deli wrap paper that I ordered from Amazon, and just with different brush strokes, I've been focusing on a lot of black and white, but with the new videos that I've been watching, I'm going to extend that to blue on white, white on blue, especially that I love to use a lot of blue, and of course begin exploring with monochromatic palette. I can't wait. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come up with I think the 10-minute challenge that I did, which is totally fun, but I think I'm going to add one more thing to it. It's a 10-minute monochromatic challenge in that little small mixed media pad that I've been working with. If you're happen to be in my Facebook group, that's where I'm showing these. I think the ones that I'm talking about now, I will upload to YouTube, to my channel, but they'll be very short. So we'll see what happens with those. So as you can see, it's feeling the energy. It's a little calm. There's a little more space, but that orange sort of arc or hump or shape changes throughout the layers. So stay tuned to watch to the end so you can see what I do. And I'm probably deciding here what next move to make. And speaking about that, as you move towards the end, it takes more time. It's a little more careful because there's a little more thought involved, where the initial layers, where it's almost full intuitive, reactive kind of style or process, is perfect for those layers. So I believe my thinking here was, if you saw the part 1, there was a lot more black on this piece. I went to blue, and it just needed it just needed something else. So I chose black to counteract the lower three circles for balance. Those were three dark circles that I changed a little bit. And then I'm adding the black here, still providing space, and then decided, okay, it really needs to extend past this small quadrant in the upper right. And you can think of your substrates, your compositions, when you're using an intuitive process at the beginning. You may want, it depends. You may want to have a composition in mind if that's what your intention, if that's what you're exploring. Here I didn't. I wanted to just let it happen. And I think I'm focusing here on carrying the eye throughout the piece. And that was my reason for choosing the black. And as I make this quadrant larger with the black, I'm noticing the further down I go, it just feels better. It opens it up. That was really too heavy or busy, or something was going on. The energy was getting stuck there. So when I'm doing this, of course, I like to remember that, there is a cool color underneath. And especially if this is sort of a heavier body, and it's just a very inexpensive acrylic paint that I get at Michael's here up in Canada. And so I'm playing around, and I'm using horizontal lines here to move the eye out of that area, away from that shape, which you'll see in the next few layers. I take apart a lot of it. And especially that this shape is a really nice piece of collage paper that I like. So there's the issue. Letting go of things that we like because they need to, composition-wise, value-wise, the eye getting stuck, the viewer's eye getting stuck there. So you'll see towards the end or the middle part of this video what I do with that. So so there I'm drawing your attention. What am I going to do with that? So I still like it. So I do leave part of it. And I don't know if I'm going to do that right now, but I am going to deal with too much blue. For some reason, I love blue, but I'm changing the color of this half circle again. There must be like 5 coats of paint on this little guy here. And that's okay. And you know what? It was a matter of, okay, do I use the blue from the upper area, carry that through, or I'm liking this better, using the very light tone slightly differently to add subtlety with the white below it. And it works. So that I will try to remember. It might take a few times. And as you can see, that circle shape, that orange shape with the other orange dots on it, I end up putting a piece of black and white collage with stripes on it. And now you see I'm realizing, see, sometimes when we're using our intuitive process, we're only subconsciously reacting to these things. So it's so important that when you spin back out of it, look what you've done. And this takes time to learn, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and why. This has been such an amazing journey for this. I just love it. And I can't wait to do the next 2 abstracts. So stay tuned for that. And work with these colors. These are my favorite colors, but I ended up mixing them more. And really enjoyed this. So What I believe subconsciously is happening is that I'm in the square and rectangular shapes are working better in this piece over the curves. So they're going to be the major shape, and then the secondary shape is going to be the circles and or the half circles or any kind of arced or curved line. And so now I'm thinking of veiling. Why? Why am I covering up all these fabulous marks? It just needs space to breathe. If you allow more breathing space, the other stuff will just pop. And I hope I achieved that this time. I do believe I got closer. Oh, there's so much more to learn with this. So here I go. And I realize that the closer this half circle becomes to the white below it, the better. And it helps change the whole shape of that off-white or whatever neutral tone is what I'll call it. So then trying to remember, don't just work on one little area of your painting. Spread it around. When you're thinking this, think threes, think fives. So I'm getting the eye to move around now. It's not getting stuck. And there I go again. So I can't make up my mind if I like it white or if I like it closer to the neutral. I'm thinking I like this neutral because it's very close to the value below it, with all the scored marks below it. And it's adding subtlety, yet it's borrowing a little of the warmth from the orange on the left. So let's see if I stay with that, Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I forget, especially when I'm doing my voiceover. So liking and realizing, okay, I've got enough ochre, yellow oxide. Let's have a little punch of orange in here and in a few other areas. So I know it's reflecting there because of my lights, but that's the same orange that I just put in sort of that central left, and trying to get the eye to move around. Really complementing that beautiful aqua, I think it's a turquoise, with the teal. So those two colors, they create such beautiful blues. I cannot wait to work with my monochromatic with blues. I'm going to work with blues for quite a while. So, okay, thinking another difference. Stripes. I love stripes. I'm liking them more and more and more. I know I was really in with the dots there, but they really complement each other. And here, you see, I'm trying to bring back some of those orange lines and overlap, and then carrying the horizontal lines, but in a different color. Moving the eye away from that center, over to the right, so it can go down, and then wait and see. Oh, yes. So I add the blue dots, which, if you know me and my dots. So that's okay if I stuck with one row. But no, I don't. I just keep on going. And knowing this now, it would have been great in another piece. Why does this not work? I believe it doesn't work. Well, because those little black organic sort of marks or dots right next to it, there seems to be too many dots going on. And you know what? So what? You just end up covering them again. So I really like what I've done here with the lines, the horizontal lines, changing them up, making those two blue ones a little thicker. And then I'm using this little piece of copper pipe. And I'm not putting any paint on it because I realize that black paint is still damp. So I'm sort of twisting and scoring a circle, an open shape that's very subtle. Right there, smack dab in the middle. I could have moved it up and over to the right a bit more. But once you see what I do with that blue, black, and white piece of collage curving up to the edge and goes right to the edge, I cover that mostly with some black and just leave a rectangle. And the area that I'm working on now, just with some dots, bringing the eye down, I end up extending those larger organic shapes. So I'm still wondering about that. You can also use different colors of paper to cover things, just to test. And I finally get brave and realize, even though I really like this piece of collage, it might need to go. So let's see what I do here. Oh, I changed my mind. I was almost ready there. So I realize too, the more I make more corners and squares or rectangles, the better the shapes relate to each other, at least in this upper left quadrant. It's always neat as to, try to guess, what is she going to do now? Oh, here I go. Finally get brave. Oh, and now there's breathing room. I still don't like that orange little hill. It's too landscape related. Plus it's right in the middle. It's the upper middle, but it's right there. And at this point in the game, I don't know what to do with it, but I know I've got to change it. So I just let it sit and try to respond to some other shapes, other areas. So I realize the more I take that away, the better it's feeling. So let's see if I at least trim that down a bit more. I do believe I do. Oh, fixing it up rather than trimming it down. Interesting. So now I'm playing with value. I thought, okay, well maybe if I match it closer to the black, darken the value, it won't bug me so much. So there it is. The eye can't move away from it because of the contrast. And later on in this, I finally realized, of course, I need to clean my brush off before I go back into the black, which is so funny. Okay, I could have just eliminated that, extended that whole black rectangle at this point, and who knows what the piece would have ended up looking like. I don't know why I'm afraid. This is so funny. And I do believe if you relate to this, please leave a comment below the video. Dealing with this small but major part of your piece, sometimes it takes a while for us to realize, what am I doing? What's going on? Why is it bugging me to notice these things? So it would have been, okay, so here I come in with some more orange, which is an okay idea, but probably the paint isn't dry yet, so, I'm going to risk ruining a marker this way. And now, just that one line that extends from the blue with all those numbers, it's beginning to work. So now I'm drying that paint because I realized that, don't use Posca markers with wet paint. Duh, I should know this by now. Notice how I'm just obsessed with this area. Hang in. I do let this piece go and work on the other piece, and it flows much easier. And sometimes you just need to, okay, let's just give that a rest already. So let's see what I do. So I'm thinking of now, yes, should I put some black dots over that? Well, there's already enough black dots and I just finished covering them up. No, We need something else. And I don't know, oh, there it is. You can see the piece of collage above the dot stencil, just the edge of it. And it was made, you can see some stripes on it. So here I go. Okay, so let's darken it up again. Maybe it'll go away and you won't see it. Nope, it's not gonna go away yet. But darker, this is so funny. I love this. See, I didn't want to move the blue over, but maybe now eliminating too much orange, changing the ratio of the amount of orange to blue might have worked, along with extending that whole rectangle's corner, covering that whole orange with black, and then even extending those horizontal lines. That would have been pretty cool. And then, of course, it would have forced a move with the other blue area. I might have extended that down, and compositionally, I think that would have worked as well. But it's so funny with things that we get hung up on. So I'm just gonna let that dry, give that area a little bit of a break, adding a few black dots on the left, which definitely help, but yet I have not solved that area at all. So now that the black paint is dry, the orange, one orange line is working, and that stays. Okay, that's enough for now, so I'm gonna put that to the side and get out the other one. Okay, so what is bothering me about this piece is that the position of it in the middle, of course, where the neutral and that green blue above that arc meet. Plus there's a little bit of a paint mark there above the white dots on the black. And as you can see, I'm okay. I like, it sort of works, but I don't end up using the black. I go the other way. I go with the very light value. And I'm probably getting a few paints out, coming back. Oh, I was digging for some more collage papers. It's funny, where did I go? So sitting down and making a decision. Okay, what does this need? Well, I need to get rid of some of that blue. I really like what's happening on the right, so let's go up a value. At first, I keep the circle, but later on down the road, it disappears as well because I believe there's just enough circles in this piece right now. And of course, this arc shape, that little piece of turquoise collage with the little line on it, I've got to make some more. So as and when you want to veil and you're not really sure what to veil, and you're just using your instincts, your intuition, it's always good to use a thin layer. So you're not fully committed, you're just testing the waters here and seeing, oh, okay, so that is working. Then you can go in with another layer and you can, even at that point, adjust the value. Go slightly lighter, bring it back. But definitely this whole piece ended up not being blue here and more of the black horizontal lines. And again, stay to the end to see, and I know, well, why not? Some people skip to the end. It doesn't matter, but check out that end as to what this ends up looking like. Okay, so I'm really liking this value, but even more, I'm liking so I tested it and realized, and not that texture, I can't wait to use that piece of paper. It's very heavy, maybe too heavy to use on such a small work. But on my larger 24 by 24 inch canvases that's coming up, I'm going to take what I learned from this series, 10 by 10s, 12 by 12s, 4 8 by 8s on cradle. So I'm going to continue some more videos with those and then take what I learn and now apply it to larger work. So for some reason, I just grabbed that piece of collage and I just loved what it did. It's different. It's not solid. It's semi-solid. It's a texture, which I really don't have a lot of that in here at this point. And of course, it's both neutral. It's got all the colors on it. So I really, really like that. And I like how it extends that neutral piece upwards. Oh, still that greenish piece in there is rather annoying. So then, instead of coming down again with the same value of that neutral, I would have still had the same problem. Solid. So I thought, okay, let's just try a layer on top. Leave some of the green. Oh, so now it's creating an interesting feeling, and I'm going to overlap these organic dots, I call them. This is a Stencil Girl stencil. And I've got a request to give the name of the botanical one that I used in a few videos back. I went back to Stencil Girl, and I don't know, maybe it's an older stencil. I couldn't find it yet, but I'm still searching for the name of that stencil or the artist who makes those. So anyway, back to this. So in the future, I may be a little more careful, less smudgy, but I didn't really care at this point. So here comes the stripes. So the slightly higher contrast, love it. Love, 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 love this. It just, yes. And right there seems to really work. I'm playing as to how high of a plane. So matching where the circle ends, those two black circles on the neutral, seems to be the spot. Good. So then I just applied in the area. Let's see what I do. Slightly higher, but still in that same area. Oh, so nice. Wow, I love it. Now, why does it work? Well, the circles are a sort of a texture, and then the stripes are solid with a harder edge. Those circles have a softer edge. And now I'm thinking, okay, so then you get on a roll. Okay, does it need more black and white elsewhere? A black square there may, too heavy. And that neutral does end up staying under there, which is a piece of newsprint. No, it's copy paper, just with a print of text that I really love the meaning and the energy of, and I dyed it with coffee. What a wonderful tone that makes. And when you use tea, it's even more subtle. So liking that. I'm liking the layer underneath, so to push it back, just to push it back a little bit more, I added that stencil shape. I think, I don't know what else would have worked. Going for the circle again. I really like that value, but it's just, there's too many. It doesn't work. So let's see what I end up doing. Yes. So I see that this much lighter value carrying up into the quadrant very similarly to the other one that I did in black, but this one I'm going to do in a light tone. And I'm noticing the lighter it is, resembling the background value of the circle and the stripes. So it just carries on that wonderful lightness And that's what these heavier shapes and textures needed this contrast. So now the eye is moving on out of that green where I didn't change the green. I just added another layer on top. So keeping that in mind, I probably could have done stripes over top of the green, maybe black, carrying those stripes in behind those circles, overlapping the planes. But I'm really liking how this is turning out now. So now we've got not a quadrant so much as a grid, like a symbol grid of 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. And I realized that, what if I added a little more of that green, the one that I didn't like, the one that I wanted to cover, and just put it up on the top, trying to maintain the similar value, but just a different color. And that really works. Oh. So I'm going, no. No more circles. And I don't end up using circles there. I end up using my cardboard, piece of corrugated cardboard with black. And that piece of that little bump, that circle, is just dried acrylic paint from my glass palette there, paint palette. And sometimes if I really like them and I scrape them off with the razor blade, I keep them. And I have yet to use skins, but you need to use a paper palette to get those skins off, or use, it's a whole other technique. So let's see, what do we have? Liking the white on black, the black on white. So there's that natural tissue paper. So the upper left-hand side with those little horizontal lines like a ladder, or, moving the eye upward, are okay, but I end up changing those because I'm liking what's going on. They counterplays. Oh, that's nice. I don't know if the color works, but I certainly love how the shape fit in that corner. Very neat. I don't know if and then there it goes, landing in the black. That's what happens when you use a dryer. Everything goes everywhere, especially if you're using paper. Okay, so yeah, move it out of the way so it doesn't blow in there again. And that is watercolor paper, an old piece of work that probably I had a few layers on it, and I ended up just chopping it up and using it on much larger pieces of work. I think a 32 by 40 or a 30 by, I forget what it is. I'm sitting here looking at it while I'm doing this voiceover. So playing around with different blues and greens. So I let that dry. I had to walk away. As you can see, that was a little time. Oh, and then being careful with your cloth. But remember, sometimes these happy accidents are happy discoveries. All right. So I don't know why I'm doing that. Interesting. But that doesn't stay. So just a crazy reaction to an accident. So just adding a little bit of water. Remember, this is thoroughly dry, but you notice my edges are getting a little dirty, but I end up painting over those and it's okay. Everything's good. It's all good. So what I think I liked, what happened, out of this, is that the black, or a raw umber, or any kind of tone, picked up a little bit of the texture and messed it up just enough that I sort of liked it. I didn't really like that black and down in that area, so I'm trying to go back in with a similar tone, and now this will turn out much more solid. Why I'm going over, oh, I know what this was. This was when I thought, okay, let's bring the eye over in this direction with a little bit of that blue, starting with the blue stripes on the far left and swooshing over a totally soft, atmospheric kind of shape. But a nice thought, a good idea, but it does not work. It just doesn't work. So what I end up doing, I believe, is leaving, yeah, I'm not liking it because now I'm using my brayer, trying to eliminate those brush strokes. And again, a certain little area of a piece, which is really bugging me. So I go in and you just paint over it. But if it worked, wouldn't that have been interesting? So that's just how it goes. So I bring that nice light value, trying to clean up that edge a bit more. You can see the paper layers underneath starting to bubble a little bit, but that's okay. So I clean that up, and in the end I end up adding another color of stripes to that black and white striped area, and just cleaning that up, which looks so much better, maintaining that lighter value. Yes, so I go in with the lighter white, and so then all of a sudden your eye comes down and out of that area. And I sort of like what that black did. It brought out some of the texture, the marks. If your paint was dry, you could also spritz it. Probably your cloth is better with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I use that a lot with my work. So there's a corrugated cardboard. I go, yes! So that was sitting on the, just out of camera on the left. I realize, okay, those stripes are working. No, we don't need any more dots. We needed some nice black and white. And so I just lay it in once. Notice I don't cover the entire cardboard. I'm trying to go for sort of an oval shape, sort of a natural, it just happened, and liking that a lot. But there's one more thing that I notice. The upper, let's see, what is it? Oh yes, this circle, since it's there, yes, beautiful. Looks so much better as the value next to it. That is so neat. And I do believe I bring the value a little closer to the blue background so the eye doesn't stay on it. So you see it, but you don't stay there. That's important too. But I really like that. Oh, I know what I did. So I'm just adding an orange wash. So now, oh yes, the orange next to it. So now I'm playing with different, oh yeah. So bam, all of a sudden the orange around all this blue pops. And then I rub a little bit off, sort of giving it a shadow or just playing with the shape, and realize that, oh, this side is a little bare. So let's bring some of that exact same orange as a stripe, bam. And now, since I added it here with a darker orange and a few more stripes, now the eye is moving all around and there's way more interest, but not messing up the value in some of the areas. And I realize, okay, why don't I do that? So playing with that area, then I dab it with a cloth just to give it a natural. So I only want a little bit of that darker orange on the edge. Okay, beautiful. Now, let's see if I tackle the upper left-hand corner. So, if you notice, the more I lighten this little arc up, Notice the eye sort of stays there because the contrast is too great. At least I believe so. Cleaning up these circles a bit. So now I'm looking at it and catching that. So I just take that little bit of that layer off and get it closer to the green of that background, the rectangle that gave me a hard time that I started up with. So it's much, much better. As I clean up that edge, and the right-hand side where those little horizontal lines are, I paint black to balance the other side and add a little more contrast. And I really believe that turned out much better. So these are the last stages. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. And right here I added this picture where it improved. As you can see, the black and white where the orange was. And I will have another video for you next week. Have a good day.